We start with breaking news out of Phoenix tonight. DPS telling us they were involved in a pursuit with a car that ended up crashing after the chase was over. The scene happening near 16th Street, just off the I-10. DPS does tell us this is an active investigation and you're asked to avoid the area if possible. Thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Rachel Cole. Tonight, a recovery mission is underway at Bartlett Lake for a swimmer who drowned earlier this afternoon. Officials say the man was underwater for at least 15 minutes before his body was found. 12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra joins us now with the latest on this investigation.
The MCSO dive team is out on the water near SB Cove, which is about 4 miles from the entrance of Bartlett Lake. They're working to recover the body of a man who drowned earlier this afternoon. Officials say a 21-year-old man from Phoenix was swimming with friends when he went under and never resurfaced. One of his friends immediately saw the man struggling and tried to help, but was unable to save him. Friends told first responders the man reportedly knew how to swim and was not wearing a life jacket. Those first responders were able to locate the man quickly in the water. They called in the dive team to help recover his body. Chris Hegstrom with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says this drowning serves as another tragic reminder of how dangerous the water can be.
Water temperatures are colder than some people might believe, so if you're closer to shore, obviously that water's a little warmer. Once you get out there a little further, that might be colder, and again, you might get startled by it, and that could take you under, and then you go into a struggle. And struggling is what is the hardest part, because it's tough for somebody to go out there and rescue you once you start struggling.
The sheriff's office has not yet identified this man. The circumstances surrounding the drowning are still under investigation. At Bartlett Lake, Gabriella Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thank you. Police are searching for a suspect after a man was shot in Tempe. It happened around 3 o'clock this afternoon near University Drive in Mill Avenue, just outside Casey Moore's Oyster House. Police say they found the man who had been shot in the stomach. We're told he was conscious and in stable condition. Officers tell us the shooter took off before they got to the scene, but have identified the involved parties and are actively searching for that suspect. If you have any information, you're asked to call Tempe Police. A family of 4 is looking for a place to stay after their home went up in flames. This is video from that scene happening near 35th Avenue in Northern. Crews found flames spreading throughout that house, and a mother and her 3 kids were able to get out right before firefighters arrived. The cause of the fire is unknown at this time, but members of the Community Assistance Program are stepping in to help out that family. And a brush fire sparked earlier today in the West Valley. This happened in a desert area near Grand Avenue and Happy Valley Road just after 3 o'clock this afternoon. We want to show you some of that smoke and what it looked like when our crews first got there. The smoke coming from that remote area and firefighters using axes and other tools to get inside the building that was on fire, and they were able to get the flames under control within just a few minutes. The fire is out, but we know crews are still watching for hot spots and the area is not quite clear. Officials asking people to avoid the area. And right now, fire crews are closer to containing a wildfire that's burning in Cochise County. The stronghold fire started about 16 miles south of Cochise, and the Department of Forestry and Fire Management says it's burned about 2,100 acres and is nearly 70% contained. Still unclear how that fire started. And certainly a warm Saturday, but things about to change. Tricia Hendricks has more.
I hope that you had a fantastic Saturday enjoying all the Derby Day festivities. On our weather impact forecast, we have quite a bit of storms and showers starting as soon as tonight in the higher elevations, which is going to make for nice conditions up in the high country. We're staying on the dry side here in Phoenix, and our temperatures are going to be dipping down, so a cool down in store for you over the next 24 hours. Unfortunately, we have a couple weather alerts I want to mention. An air quality alert, and that's been in effect since Friday morning. That will remain in effect until 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We also have a fire weather watch, and it is going to be windy in most areas of State 48. That's in effect until 8 p.m. So definitely something to be cognizant of, especially if you're traveling. Our valley temperatures tonight dipping into the 70s. Will be at 79 by midnight, early morning hours 73, 4 a.m. and 71 at 6 a.m. I'll have a complete look at your 7-day forecast coming up.
Tricia, thank you. In other news tonight, the brutal murder of 14-year-old Emily Pike brought the Fort McDowell Police Department and FBI together to help keep kids safe with the National Child Identification Program. The program helps distribute English in-home child ID kits. Those kits do not enter a database and are stored at home by parents, providing them with the gift of safety they hopefully never have to use. Listen.
This event was created out of grief, is what it was. Detective Whitewater and I, when Emily Pike's death had happened, their impact to the community, all tribal communities throughout the state, was profound.
The kits take 2 minutes to complete and allow parents to safely store in their own home the vast majority of their child's vital information should law enforcement ever need it. Over the years, we've featured many veterans taking part in special flights at Falcon Field in Mesa, thanks to the nonprofit Grounded No More. They just completed another season, but this time they're moving on without their vintage World War II era plane, which has meant so much for so many people. Caribe Divine has the story.
Grounded No More has been honoring veterans for nearly a decade.
Thanks for your service.
Well, thank you all for being here.
Sergeant Big Bob Richmond.
Each veteran given a free ride in the friendly skies aboard Amazing Grace.
All right, let's get you flying.
Well, Amazing Grace is a 1943 Fairchild PT-26.
She was originally used to train British pilots in Canada during World War II. For some veterans, it's more than a vintage plane.
I flew in one of these planes just 80 years ago.
Overwhelming, to say the least.
How old do you feel?
39.
While it's a trip down memory lane for some, for others, flying with Amazing Grace was more than a joyride.
It was peaceful. You could kind of let go of some things. When I went up in Amazing Grace, it seemed like for that time period, I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't in my thoughts.
You know, guys that wouldn't talk about anything. We had one lady called us up 2 years ago, and she says, I've found more stuff out about my husband in the last year than I have in 38 years we've been married. That whatever you guys did, it just opened him up.
I feel like I'd like to do it more often.
Unfortunately, 680 veteran flights later, Amazing Grace has been retired.
They had a metal shortage in World War II, so they made this airplane primarily out of wood, which unfortunately is why we've had to retire it. It had a couple of separations in the wood, and the cost to get it repaired is probably twice what the airplane is worth.
Owner and pilot Tony Anger says the nonprofit Grounded No More will still go on the honor flights, just with another vintage plane. Like the veterans she served, Amazing Grace will never be forgotten.
And bring back those memories, I think.
I just want to say God bless you for your courage, your sacrifice, and your service.
That was Caribe Divine reporting for us. Amazing Grace will be going to the Commemorative Air Force, where volunteers there can restore her. And 12 News wants to share the stories and the photos of veterans that are closest to you. To submit your Those Who Serve stories and pictures for a chance to be featured, just go to 12news.com/those who serve. Arizona firefighters were honored at a candlelight service at the 44th National Fallen Firefighter Memorial Weekend in Maryland. And one of those being honored is Captain Corey Yule of the Scottsdale Fire Department, who died at just 42 years old. Today was the candlelight service, while tomorrow is the memorial service. This weekend will honor 140 firefighters. Tonight, a Valley community is coming together to celebrate one of their very own. Robert Goffina, better known as Bobby G, is 93 years old and still working full-time as a civil engineer. His family, including his 5 daughters, tell us Robert isn't slowing down. He loves to cook, craft, and garden. Today, the community celebrated Robert and his astonishing career.
I like confrontation. And dealing with contractors, sometimes you have that, hey, you shouldn't have done that, let's get it done right and stuff like that. But mostly I think it's the sociability, dealing with people, having something to get up for in the morning.
Okay, Lena and I can't believe it. We're like, that's the 93-year-old, or is that a spokesperson for the 90? He looks amazing. Robert, Bobby G, tell us your secrets. He also serves as a board member for Chemo Companions. So this was a group that was inspired by his late wife, who passed from breast cancer, and he certainly keeps it going. Way to go, Bobby G.